My dearest Dorothy, thank you for your letter. I received it this morning along with little Sally's drawing of Daddy in his uniform. You must tell her how pleased I am with it and how impressed I am with her colouring in. I will be sure to put it up in my dugout once we reach the front, but for now my breast pocket shall have to be the inadequate home to such a lovely picture. Training continues, and while it is still strange to be here, I'm starting to get a little more used to life in France. I'm getting used to the putties as they have finally begun to shape my legs. I'm getting a little more used to the exercises, though it's still jolly exhausting. All that marching, schlepping through the mud, as the general barks directions. Oh well, at least Sam and I and all of us older conscripts are in it together. We never thought they'd raise the conscription age to 45, but here we are, and that's all there is to it. I'm sure we'll be thankful for all the time spent in the mud by the time we get to the trenches. After all, the generals do know best. They have been teaching us bayonet fighting today, and by Jove, does it make your arms ache. It does seem ridiculous, lying in the mud, and then lunging like wild things with bayonets at an imaginary enemy. It reminded me of when our Teddy was a tiny thing, how he'd spend hours fighting all kinds of invisible enemies with his wooden sword. Do you remember how we'd watch him through the kitchen window and laugh to ourselves? I do, and it makes me chuckle even now. I hope to be back in our little kitchen with you soon, my love. I may be getting used to some things here, but one thing I'll never grow accustomed to is being without you, Teddy and Sally. Tell them that I'm thinking of you all, and tell them that they ought to see me in my shrapnel helmet and gas mask. I look ever so silly, the helmet wobbling from side to side every time I walk. That should make them giggle. I hope to hear from you soon. Your ever-loving husband, Arthur.
My dearest Arthur, I simply cannot find the words to describe my happiness when I held your letter in my hand. To know that you are well, to know that you are still fighting for our country and fighting for our love. It fills me with such warmth and pride. It is lonely, but I have joined a ladies' club where I've made new friends. It helps pass the time, and I am learning to knit. It is delightful making wonderful scarves and mittens while sat talking to folk. Please pass my love on to Sam, for I pray that you spend many more happy days together, like you used to when you were children. My love, I have written you a poem that I would like to share with you. How I love the night, I have done all my life. An atmospheric air to the night's time air, a magical place where moments are shared. There is much ado about nothing here. The streets and shops are empty. Goodness gracious, everyone makes such a fuss of me, but I do not mind them. I just like to carry on and let the days pass by. I sometimes sit at our bedroom window, watching the nighttime draw in, thinking about you and what you are doing that very moment. I wonder if you're thinking of me. Do you, Arthur? Do you think of me? In the desolate fields of battle? Sally is doing wonderfully at school. She enjoys writing as well as singing and dancing. I do all I can to encourage her, for it helps keep both our spirits up. And Teddy keeps asking after you. He begs to hear of your exploits in battle. Tomorrow we are going to visit your mother, for I promised I would help with the gardening. I cannot bear to see the poor dear struggle. Sally and I have picked up a beautiful flower arrangement that we hope she will like, and she has drawn a delightful picture of us all. Rover has been restless since you left. Day and night he sits in the garden staring at the gate that you always used to come through. He misses you. We all miss you dearly, my love. I am now a regular at our local church, and I help out whenever I can. It brings me some comfort. I rejoice and relish at every chance I have to pray. I pray for you, Arthur, as I will always pray for you. No one here speaks about the war. None of us really know what's going on back there. And if we are honest, we're all too frightened to ask. I know you are brave, Arthur, and that you will try and save that brave face for us all. Here, food is scarce, but we do all we can. We save what we can. We make things last. So do not worry, we are all fine. We are just missing you and wish that you will return home safe. I carry your picture with me always, here in my little green purse. And my love, oh how I hope to hear from you soon. Forever your beloved, Dorothy.
My dearest Dorothy, Merry Christmas. I hope this reaches you by the 25th, though the post can be so temperamental. I only wish I was there to give you these season's greetings in person, but you know that there are others more entitled to the Christmas leave than I am. Not even Sam was granted leave, despite his Marjorie being so unwell. I try to keep his spirits up as best I can. It's curious. We're constantly being told that we're fighting for our loved ones back home and that our sacrifices are to save you. But no matter how many bullets Sam dodges and friends he loses, he won't be able to save the girl he has loved since he was 15. It makes you wonder why we're here. I'm sorry. I'm not being very festive, am I? It's not like at home where you can feel the Christmas spirit in the air and can see the excitement dancing over the children's faces. Here, Christmas is just a day like any other day, spent waiting amongst the rats, simultaneously hoping and dreading that something might happen. Rumour has it there is to be a big offensive soon, and that's why no one has been given leave, but we'll see. You must send me a letter telling me all that you, Teddy and Sally get up to over the holiday. I long to hear everything. Will you be turning your hand to costumes for the nativity play again? And will Teddy be reprising his role as the donkey? Tell me about the food and the songs and the gifts. And I hope you go for a walk along the river on Christmas Eve as we always do. This war has already taken too much from too many. Don't let it take away the traditions which make us a family. I know it is hard to be apart, my love. Over a year since I last saw your wonderful face and held our beautiful children in my arms. Sometimes I fear you will not recognize me when I return, that I will no longer be the man you married. Do not believe everything you read in the papers, dear. This war. Even if you escape it with breath still in your lungs, it is enough to change a man for good. I do not wish to be morbid. I write this in the middle of the night as I sit on patrol, as perhaps you can tell by the shaky handwriting. And what was it I used to say to Sally when she had nightmares? Things always seem worse in the dark. It will all seem brighter in the morning, I'm sure. Have a wonderful Christmas, my darlings. God bless you all. Your ever-loving husband, Arthur.
Oh, Arthur, my dearest Arthur, I did receive it on Christmas Eve of all eves, and we raised a glass in your great honour, and we slept more peacefully in our beds thanks to that warm, comforting letter you sent. For the sake of our children, I decorated our home exactly like it was when you shared it with us. I hoped it would bring me a euphoric sense of feeling close to you, and it did for a short while, and then that feeling was gone, and I could feel the ground beneath my feet, and the house was cold again. We played our games, had fun with jigsaw puzzles, Monopoly and snakes and ladders, opened our present, ate our meagre meal, forced smiles and sang hymns, all whilst thinking of you. I did lend a hand to the costumes for the nativity play, and the ladies were ever so grateful. There are many here now who are sick. I would hazard a guess, as it's due to lack of food, and the morale is quite low, as we try not to let our aching hearts show. Teddy took on a new role. He desperately wanted to be Joseph, and so he was, and he did a wonderful job, and we're all so very proud of him. I wish you would have been here to see him. I couldn't manage the river walk. It was just too much without you. It is important for you to know that I am a selfish woman, for I do understand your needs. I appreciate why you were not accepted for leave. Yes, others need you very much, much more than I need you. You speak of sacrifices. Sacrifices indeed I have, my husband, my friend, my soulmate and my lover, but I shan't speak of that again. This is not about me. As for me not recognising you, well, I would recognise you in the midst of a raging blizzard storm, where the howling wind is showing your face 20 feet away. For Arthur, you will always be the man I married, till death do us part, till death do us part. I pay no attention to propaganda in the papers. I never read them, and I simply refuse to believe it. They'll do anything to sell papers. It is hard, so very hard to be apart, but I hold on to that lovely thought that I spoke of at the start, the warmth and comfort you bring to me, and so many, I will hold here in my heart until once again you are in my arms. And I ask the same of you. Hold on to those nice thoughts. Here's wishing you a very happy and healthy New Year. God bless you, Arthur, my one true love, Dorothy.
To my own beloved wife. I do not quite know how to start this letter. The circumstances are different from under which any I've written before. I am not going to post this for fear of scaring you without cause, but I will leave it in my pocket with my photos and Sally's pictures, and if anything should happen to me, someone will perhaps post it. We are going over the top this morning, and only God in heaven knows who will come out of this alive. I realise now why Kitchener preferred bachelors for soldiers. It is not because they are braver men, but because they do not have everything to lose. You, my dear, you and the children are everything to me. If I die amongst the mud and the shrapnel today, your dear face will be the last vision I see, and it will be your name upon my lips. You, the best of women. I do not doubt that you will raise our darling children to be the finest of men and women. Tell them how their daddy died, and tell them how his heart could have burst for loving them. Oh, how I love you all, and as I sit here waiting, I wonder what you are doing at home. Perhaps Sally is drawing, and Teddy is practicing his violin. No, I must not do that. It is hard enough sitting here waiting. We move any minute. Just know that when this reaches you, for me there will be no more war, only peace and eternal waiting for you. It is a legacy of struggle for you, but I pray God will look after you, and that we shall meet again in a place where there will be no more parting. I am to write no more, sweetheart. Kiss the children for me once more. I dare not think of them too much, my precious darlings. Goodbye, you best of women and best of wives, my beloved sweetheart. If there be a God, may he in his mercy look over you and bless you all. May he in that same mercy preserve me today. Eternally yours, Arthur. Dorothy, my love, it has been nearly a month since I last wrote. I'm sorry. I know you will have been frightened by my silence, but believe me, it was not without cause. Darling, I write to you from a military hospital. Please do not be alarmed, for the worst is over. The delirium has passed and I am very much alive. The nurse says that the fever has subsided and that the infection has not spread. I should be very unlucky to take a downward turn now. But Dorothy, there is something I must tell you. I do not know how to put this other than bluntly, so brace yourself, my dear. They have amputated my right leg. The offensive that was rumoured, the one I told you about, it came. It was carnage. Thousands are dead. We went over the top and no man's land was awash with the blood of nations. My platoon, we were trying to cut the barbed wire of a German trench when a shell exploded nearby. I believe many were killed by the initial explosion, but a few of us got caught by the shrapnel. A shard of metal got me in the thigh. Sam was caught too, but in the gut. I tried to drag him back to our trench through the mud and the blood and the screams. Please believe me, I tried to get him to safety. I had him on my back, like when we were boys, and I heaved us through the mud. Who knows how long it took? Minutes? Hours? It felt like a lifetime. I must have collapsed when I got us there. Next thing I knew, I was here, in this hospital and without a leg. I asked for Sam. They told me he was already dead. Don't be upset, my love. Not for me, anyway. Be upset for Marjorie and their children. Be upset for Mother England, who has lost so many sons. And yes, be upset for the German fatherland, for he too will be grieving for his boys. I am in pain, yes, but the pain is my ticket out of here. Darling, I am coming home. Maybe not in one piece, but I will come home alive. My only fear is that you, the best of women and wives, could not love a foolish old cripple like me. But if you can, then this can only be a blessing and not a curse. Your love, and my love for you and the children, is what has got me through this cesspit of a war. You may not know it, but I owe you through my life. You inspired me to open my eyes in the morning, and the thought of you keeps me going until I shut them again at night. My beautiful darlings, you are my world, and for as long as you are safe, I will be a whole man. With love, forever and always, your husband, Arthur. Arthur, the last few months have been the darkest of my life. I know that was a selfish thought. I'm sorry, forgive me. But I thought you were gone. I thought I'd lost you. I had resigned myself to it. I'm so grateful for God that you are still with us. He must have listened to my prayers. I have faith in the doctors and nurses that they will return you back to a quick and full recovery. And the fact that you have lost your leg does not change you in any way. Remember that, my darling. We will all love you for who you are. But I'm so sad for Sam. Just one more precious life that is wasted. And as I think more and more about it, I can feel the rage within me that I've never felt before.
It makes me wonder what this war is really for. What does all the fighting and the bloodshed really achieve? Does it bring any harmony? Does it bring peace? I'm not really convinced that it does. I do love you, Arthur. You need never question that. And I'm still proud of you, but I cannot bear the thought of losing you. So let's put this all behind us. We may never get this chance if you continue to stay. The children miss you dearly. I cannot wait to tell them that Daddy is coming home. They will be so thrilled. They have been asking for you. Sally is still having nightmares, and I comfort her most nights. She has begun wetting the bed, and it is worrying. I hope it's just a phase that every child goes through and that it will pass, but we shall see. What concerns me most is that she cannot seem to open up to me. She's quiet, and when you do come back, I do not wish you to tell me what it was like. My only wish is to move on with our lives. I do not want you to speak of the fighting, the many hours of sleep lost in the cold, the solitary nights spent aimlessly trying to win someone else's battle. Yes, I am angry. And the more that I think about it, I am. Now just come back to us, Arthur. You've given enough. Your wife, Dorothy.